Chronicle. Last time, we discussed food insecurity. LMTV got the chance to meet with the Lower Merion Health Advisory Committee's Janet Fleetwood and Montgomery County's Anti-Hunger Network's Shannon Isaacs to provide a bit more perspective. Roll the clip.
Hello, I'm Janet Fleetwood, the chairperson of the Lower Merion Health Advisory Council and Professor Emeritus in Public Health at Drexel University, and also a board member of the MontCo Anti-Hunger Network. The Lower Merion Health Advisory Council is tasked with recommending plans and programs to the Board of Commissioners for the protection of public health of township residents and advising boards, agencies, officials of the township concerning public health. We also take the recommendations of the commissioners of things and activities that we ought to be doing to promote public health in our township. The council is comprised of about 7 members with expertise in public health, medicine, psychology, nursing, public health law, and other fields who apply and are vetted and appointed by our township commissioners. In this episode of the Chronicle, we wanted to focus on the topic of food insecurity and hunger right here in Lower Merion Township. It's a topic I am passionate about and a somewhat invisible issue in our township to a lot of our township residents. Yet many of our friends and neighbors are quietly trying to deal with the shortage of enough healthy food in their homes to maintain the health of themselves and their family members. You might be surprised to know that there are 6 food pantries, yes, 6, in Lower Merion alone, and that their resources are tapped out by the growing need. It's a hidden issue, except for our neighbors across the township who are experiencing it. Today, we are pleased to welcome Shannon Isaacs, the Executive Director of the MontCo Anti-Hunger Network. It's an organization focused on providing support to communities to help effectively distribute food and decrease barriers to obtaining food assistance by working closely with food pantries across Montgomery County, including those in Lower Merion. Thank you for joining me today, Shannon.
Thanks so much for having me, Janet.
Let's start with taking some time to summarize what food insecurity is.
Yeah, so food insecurity is defined as when people don't have enough food to live a healthy and active lifestyle. So that can be anything from having meals that are just a bag of chips, skipping meals, going multiple days without food. It's also not being sure where your next meal is coming from or if you're going to have enough food when you go home from work at the end of the day. So I'd say there's a variety of there's a range of food insecurity that's encompassed by the definition.
Mm-hmm. And I understand when we talk about hunger, we're really talking about that physical sensation. Is that correct?
Yeah, absolutely. So hunger is that physical sensation of feeling hungry and also sort of the biological pieces that come with it.
Mm-hmm. Can you speak a bit about what the MontCo Anti-Hunger Network does?
Yeah, of course. So MontCo Anti-Hunger Network is a network of 73 food pantries, food banks, and free meal providers that do collaborative work. We do innovation projects. We work together to address food insecurity in the county. We deliver food to pantries, and we do some policy work as well.
And what kind of trends are you seeing at Mon?
We're seeing really concerning trends, especially in the Lower Merion area and on the main line in general. And throughout Montgomery County, food insecurity is way up. So over the last 2 years, there's been almost a 70% increase in the number of visits to pantries across the county. We're also seeing severe food shortages at food pantries across the county. So we're seeing this really large jump in demand, I think due to inflation and due to the high cost of living. And we're seeing, not a jump in supply to match that over the last 2 years.
Wow. So I know that Lower Merion has 6 food pantries. Are those 6 food pantries enough to serve the needs of all the people who are coming to them?
I think there is enough, but I think those food pantries need more resources. So they need community members to donate food and money to them. Money especially is very helpful. They need more resources. But they're really fantastic pantries in the Lower Merion area. But I know a few weeks ago I was at a meeting and I just heard that there's really substantial need.
Mm-hmm. One of the things that I've heard about is that there's a difference between a food pantry and places that provide meals to individuals.
Yeah.
Can you describe a little bit about what a food pantry is and what they actually do?
Yeah, so a food pantry is more like a grocery store. So either you come and sometimes you can pick what you want out if it's a choice food pantry, or sometimes there's prepared bags of food. So you just take usually not prepared food. Free meal provider, some people more commonly known as soup kitchens, free meal provider is a better term. They provide hot meals or prepared meals.
I see. So I understand that the need in Lower Merion has been surprisingly high for people, and that our food pantries are pretty busy. How can we assist in creating a downtrend in that? Is there anything we can do to sort of help the families and the individuals that are finding themselves in a situation where they're turning to a food pantry for assistance?
Absolutely. I think there's a lot of things we can do to create a downtrend. One is, I would say, contact your local pantry. There's a fabulous network of pantries here, and offer to volunteer, offer to give money, and offer to donate food. And I think also, I think the same support to the MontCo Anti-Hunger Network. MontCo Anti-Hunger Network can mobilize funding, and we do this through Montgomery County currently. We provide food purchasing money directly to pantries, and we can create food purchasing opportunities for pantries overall. So I think there's a lot of opportunity to make a positive impact, and I think even an individual can make a big difference, because just a little movement in one direction, it's another person being able to eat that day.
So how might someone who needs food find food in Lower Merion? Does Mon have a resource that they might be able to use to find their nearest food pantry, and maybe the hours they're open or days of the week that they might be open?
Absolutely. So Mon provides a list of all of the food pantries and all of the free meal providers and their hours. You can go to our website, montcoantihungernetwork.org. Right at the top it says Find Food, and everywhere in the county there's a map of where they are, there's a list of hours, and there's a list of contact information. You're encouraged to give them a call just to confirm the hours, but we keep that updated regularly, and it's a free resource to the public.
Oh, that's fabulous. So Mon not only provides resources to food pantries and helping them to learn best practices and how to run, but they also provide resources to individuals who need food, it sounds like, that they could find out throughout the county how to do that. That's wonderful. That's great. So how could someone get involved in Mon in particular?
Well, I'd say there's a lot of ways to get involved in Mon. We're having our annual Hunger Action Conference coming up, so we're looking for volunteers for that. We're always open to people volunteering and getting engaged. Making a donation is very helpful. We also sometimes we have volunteer days where we sort of do things to support our operations. Like we have 2 refrigerated trucks that we drive around the county to deliver food to pantries, where we and help pantries share food among each other. So supporting those trucks and helping with food delivery can be helpful too.
And are there any ways that businesses in Lower Merion or in Montgomery County as a whole might be able to get involved to support these initiatives?
So if your organization provides food, whether that's a grocery store or a restaurant, you can connect with Mon, and we can deliver to Lower Merion pantries, because we have capacity to do that. I think businesses providing volunteer days and sponsorship opportunities, both through MontCo Anti-Hunger Network and through pantries, can make a huge difference.
Wow, that's fabulous. So again, your website would be a resource for businesses,
absolutely,
for individuals, and for people running food pantries who are all looking for best practices and advice and direct assistance in some cases.
Yes, absolutely.
Terrific. Are there any questions that I should have asked you that I didn't, that you'd like to talk about?
Well, I think sort of this question about the trends in the county, I think I'd like to talk a little bit more about, because I think just the concern about the number of people we're seeing actually going hungry in Montgomery County, which we haven't touched on yet. So Feeding America says that 2 years ago there were 50,000 people who were going hungry, and that's experiencing food insecurity after pantries and after SNAP and after WIC. So these are people who are utilizing the system, but the system's not meeting their needs. The next year ahead, on the most recent Feeding America numbers, they said 74,000 people were going hungry in Montgomery County.
In Montgomery
County, we're experiencing food insecurity in Montgomery County. So I think what we're seeing is that pantries have not been able to meet the need, but the number of people who are skipping meals, the number of people who are going multiple days without without food is increasing in this, especially in this part of the country. But these trends are really similar to the national trends. We've seen over the last 2 years about a 42% of children living in households experiencing food insecurity nationally, according to the USDA.
Yeah, wow. And, I think about Montgomery County, and as a Lower Merion resident, I think of the problem over there somewhere, far away, over there, in the other part of the county. And yet, when I learned that we have 6 busy food pantries right here in Lower Merion, all of which are close to tapped out each week, that was really surprising for me. And I suddenly realized that it's not just a problem over there, it's a problem right here. It's sobering and very surprising for Lower Merion. It's a hidden issue, I think.
Absolutely.
And a lot of people are just not aware that it's not just over there.
Absolutely.
It's here.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I have one question I'd like to ask you because you have so much expertise in public health. Could you talk a little bit about the relationship between food insecurity and health, and what kind of health issues come from food insecurity?
Sure. There are close connections between food insecurity and health. Things that people don't even think of. Of course, obesity is connected with food insecurity, surprisingly enough, because often those high-calorie foods are not as nutrient-dense, and we end up with people that are actually gaining weight but not well-nourished. It can affect children, of course, their ability to pay attention, their energy levels, their feelings of fatigue. Elderly people are especially susceptible to the effects of food insecurity and how that might be. It has very direct effects on health, which is why we see this as a public health issue. It's not just a social issue, it's an issue that has important ramifications for the health of our population in Lower Merion and elsewhere. So.
Yeah, it's very, very concerning, and I think that connection between health is just so important. I also think it's connected with education. When we see close to 20% of children experiencing food insecurity in the United States, you can't really pay attention in school. You can't focus on your education. So, to have an effective education system, we have to have every kid eating, which is why school meals are so important.
Yes, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
And giving us some insight into MON, as well as how to reach MON online and the kinds of services you provide. It's been a pleasure.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much, Janet.
If you or someone you know are suffering from food insecurity, please check out the description. We'll be back with the Chronicle.